Don in London, hello. It's the 24th of April 2010. My video's all about living in recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, or substance and behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, so I'm a recovering alcoholic, one day at a time. And my behaviour could be addictive too, to people, places and things, which was work, relationships and materialism, collecting. And in a world which is sorely troubled at the moment by collection and materialism, it's very difficult to understand now, the moment of now, where we are facing very difficult challenges on a personal level, on a world level too. So we learn in recovery that there are things we can do and things we cannot do, what we have choices in doing and what we can do in the greater picture, if you like. And in the UK we're up for a vote on who's going to govern us for the next 5 years or however long. It's going to be interesting. But my videos are all about recovery, so we can make those choices. So my story, 35 years of drinking. The first drink which I took did do the damage. It changed the way I felt. My emotions became more open. I was able to feel, not just fear, love, joy, hate, remorse, anything you can imagine, but normally to extremes, or because I had taken something to fix myself. And it's this fixing malarkey which got me into 24/7 drinking in this century. So I've been around a while, and I've been in recovery for a little while, one day at a time. And my purpose is to share experience, strength and hope of what is recovery, and also what helped me most. And what has helped me most stay in recovery: family, community and a fellowship. And the fellowship to be sober for me is Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, never can, never will, never want to, but I need to share my experience, strength and hope, which includes AA, and it's my choice. Other people retain their anonymity because it's sacrosanct to them. So my issue is not there. Anonymity for me is the sanctuary where we can find the truth of who we are. So fellowship, like a doctor, a psychiatrist, a counsellor, is a place where we have confidentiality and we don't gossip. Well, we try not to, and we try to maintain trust together in that anonymity, so people can speak their truth and find out how to be sober and keep sober, just simply for today. If we made it more complicated, we would be into problems, I suspect. So it's very important for me to understand where I am in the moment of now, how I feel, why, and what can I do. What are my choices today? So AA helps me, and I share a bit of literature from the programme, and also the AA statement of intent, because it's the statement of intent which is paramount in all that the fellowship does. And it goes like this: Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy. Engage in any controversy. Neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So primary purpose, a desire to stop drinking and share experience, strength and hope where it is appropriate for us to do, and that's a personal choice. But we keep anonymity of others who are in the fellowship. I can say I go, but I can't say who else goes or where they go. And that's good, because it means that truth can be found in the fellowship or the rooms of the fellowship, and with people who we get to trust. And it's like society. We find people who we are attracted to because they have good sobriety, and we listen for their wisdom and their experience of living sober. And we build a friendship network. and with that friendship network we live the 12-step program of the 12 steps of AA. 12 steps to change our attitude and behaviour. And April is all about how we do our fearless moral inventory and find out who we were and who are we becoming on a daily basis. So if you've ever had an identity crisis, or in my case it was described as, well, you didn't have a breakdown at the beginning of your life and you didn't have a breakdown at the end of your life. So if it had been at the beginning, you could have ruined it forever, and if it had been at the end of your life, then you might have looked back with regret and resentment at a lifetime spent doing something not really in line with the choices that could have been made. So midlife crisis, that's what it was called to me. I had a nervous breakdown and then started drinking as fast as I could to find oblivion and leave the planet as quickly as possible. But the trouble was I kept on waking up, and eventually I had a moment of clarity which said, I cannot get any worse. It cannot be any worse than it is now. And then I thought, well, I need help, and that's where AA came in, and everything else, because I opened up and stopped trying to do it on my own. So in this book, Daily Reflections is all about the 12 steps of AA, and it covers one step a month. And as I mentioned, April is all about doing a fearless moral inventory, so we know who we are, where we've been, and what we are becoming. And it says here for April 24th, learning to love ourselves. Alcoholism was a lonely business. Even though we were surrounded by people who loved us, we were trying to find emotional security, either by dominating or being dependent upon others. In other words, at extremes of being under the thumb or putting the thumb on somebody else. We still vainly try to be secure by some unhealthy sort of domination or dependence. So somewhere in the middle is neither being dominant or dependent. Interdependent, I think it is called. And it goes on to say, when I did my personal inventory, which is assets and liabilities of how I've lived my life, I found that I had unhealthy relationships with most people in my life. My friends and family, for example. I always felt isolated and lonely. I drank to dull emotional pain. It was through staying sober, having a good sponsor and working the 12 steps, that I was able to build up my low self-esteem. First, the 12 steps taught me to become my own best friend, and then when I was able to love myself, I could reach out and love others. And the nature of love, to love, be loved and useful. I knew I loved, but I didn't really understand love, because it was at extremes of either dominance, wanting it to be my way, or dependence, doing anything to be loved. There was no middle ground, no room for manoeuvre or for development of the feelings of love. Although we are full of love, always. And then, how do you do that when you're a macho man? Or I wasn't really a macho man. I was just somebody who was tormented by not understanding love. Do I understand it now? Well, only on a daily basis, how it's growing and how it's developing and how I cherish people. And this idea of cherishing always means that we are not superficial and indifferent. So when I look at it, and my father on his deathbed said about his relationship with my mum, he said, you know what, I never told her how much I cherished her, and I always seemed to be superficial and indifferent. So when I look at how I treat myself and other people, if I cherish myself, I can cherish others. I prefer not to be superficial or indifferent to life, people, places and things. The Serenity Prayer, which helps me always understand what is possible. To God of good conscience, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference for me is always just for today.